Port Harcourt never truly sleeps. As night falls, the city comes alive. Street lights shimmer on rain-soaked roads. Cars rush past. Music spills from restaurants and clubs. Some people are heading home to the warmth of family, while others begin another night searching for hope in all the wrong places. On this ordinary night, two strangers are about to cross paths, and neither of them knows their lives will never be the same. In a small rented apartment, Sophia stands before a cracked mirror. Every brushstroke of makeup hides another layer of pain. To the world, she looks confident. But behind the smile is a broken woman carrying years of disappointment, betrayal, and regret. As she wipes away a single tear before it ruins her makeup, she whispers a prayer she isn't even sure anyone is listening to. God, if you're real, can you still see me? As she reaches for her handbag, memories come rushing back. There was a time when life was simple. She was a little girl running barefoot through her village, laughing with her parents under the warm African sun. She dreamed of becoming a nurse, helping people and making her family proud. She had no idea how quickly those dreams would disappear. One tragic day changed everything. A devastating road accident took both of her parents. In a single moment, she lost the only people who truly loved her. The little girl who once dreamed of healing others was suddenly left alone. Her relatives took her in, but not with kindness. They took what belonged to her family, leaving her with nothing but grief and uncertainty. At 16, Sophia left her village believing the city would offer a better future. Instead, she met people who promised jobs and opportunity. Their smiles hid darker intentions. Trust became deception. Hope became exploitation. Before long, she found herself trapped in a life she had never chosen. Every attempt to escape only pulled her deeper into fear and shame. Now every evening follows the same routine. She steps onto the same street corner, wears the same practiced smile, and waits beneath the glow of a lonely streetlight. Passing drivers see confidence, but they never see the emptiness behind her eyes. Deep inside, Sophia longs for someone to notice the person she used to be. Across the city, Pastor Daniel finishes a late-night leadership meeting. One by one, the church members head home, but he remains behind. Kneeling alone at the altar, he quietly prays, "Lord, let me be useful wherever you send me tonight." He has no idea that God is already arranging an appointment no church calendar could ever schedule. Meanwhile, at home, Sarah places a cup of tea on the table. Their two children have fallen asleep while waiting for their father to return. She smiles gently as she covers them with a blanket. She knows ministry often keeps him late, but she has learned to trust both her husband and the God who called him. Driving through the quiet streets toward home, Pastor Daniel suddenly feels an unusual burden in his heart. There is no audible voice.
No dramatic vision.
Just a quiet impression he cannot ignore. He slows the car, parks beneath an old streetlight, switches off the engine, bows his head, and begins to pray. He doesn't know it yet, but heaven has interrupted his journey for a reason. Just a few meters away, Sophia notices the parked car. To her, it looks like another customer waiting in the shadows. She straightens her jacket, checks her reflection, and walks confidently toward the vehicle. She opens the passenger door and slips inside with a familiar smile. "Good evening," she says softly. "Are you waiting for someone, or are you waiting for me?" Pastor Daniel slowly opens his eyes. Their gaze meets. Time seems to stand still. In that single moment, two completely different lives collide, and nothing will ever be the same again. Sophia settled into the passenger seat, expecting the night to go exactly as so many nights before it. She adjusted her dress and gave him the smile she had learned to use with strangers. "How much time do you need?" But there was no answer. Pastor Daniel simply looked at her. There was no lust in his eyes.
No excitement. No judgment.
Just silence. And somehow, that silence made Sophia uncomfortable. Because for the first time in years, a man was looking at her. And not looking at her body. After a few moments, Daniel finally spoke. "What is your name?" Sophia looked at him strangely. She had heard many names on that street. Names men called her. Names women called her. Names she would rather forget. But nobody seemed interested in her real name anymore. She hesitated. Then she quietly answered, "Sophia." Daniel smiled. "Sophia. That's a beautiful name." Something inside her shifted. It was such a simple thing. But she had almost forgotten what it felt like to be treated like a human being. Daniel looked at her and asked, "Tell me something. What happened to the little girl named Sophia?" She froze. Her smile disappeared. Her eyes dropped to the floor. Nobody had asked her that question before. Everyone wanted to know what she could offer them. Nobody wanted to know what she had lost. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then a tear rolled down her cheek. And another. The woman who had learned to hide her pain could no longer hide it. Sophia began to talk. She told him about her parents. About the accident that took them both. About relatives who took what belonged to her. About leaving home as a teenager. About promises of employment that turned into exploitation. About nights she wanted to run away, but had nowhere to go. She told him how she had learned to smile while hurting. How she had learned to pretend she didn't care. And how, little by little, the little girl she once was disappeared. Daniel didn't interrupt. He simply listened. Sometimes, the first miracle in a broken person's life is finding someone willing to listen. Sophia finally stopped talking. She waited. She knew what usually happened next. She expected the familiar hand. The familiar request. The familiar transaction. But Daniel reached behind his seat. He picked up an old Bible and placed it gently in her hands. Sophia stared at it. Daniel looked at her and said, "I don't want anything from you." She looked up. "I want you to know something. Your life still has value." Those words broke something inside her. Not because they were complicated, but because she had not heard them in years. Daniel continued, "Don't think I'm sitting here because I'm better than you. I'm not. I'm here because somebody showed me grace when I didn't deserve it." He told her that he too had made mistakes. That the only reason he could stand where he was today was because of God's mercy. "I am a husband. I'm a father. I'm a pastor. But before all those titles, I'm a man who needed Jesus." Sophia listened carefully. For the first time, she wasn't hearing religion. She was hearing grace. For a brief moment, Daniel felt the weight of the situation. He was still a man. Sophia was still sitting beside him. The atmosphere was intimate. The temptation was real. But Daniel remembered the woman waiting for him at home. He remembered his 2 children. And more importantly, he remembered the God he had promised to serve. He took a deep breath. Then he made a decision. He would not allow one moment of temptation to destroy years of calling. Daniel looked at Sophia. "May I pray for you?" She didn't know what to say. Nobody had ever offered her prayer in a moment like this. Slowly, she nodded. Daniel bowed his head. "Father, you know this woman. You know her pain. You know what she has survived. Heal what people have broken. Restore what life has stolen. And remind her that she is still your daughter." Sophia's tears began to fall. Daniel continued praying. "Give her another beginning. Give her people who will help her. Give her courage to leave what is destroying her, and lead her into the future you created for her." Sophia covered her face. The tears became uncontrollable. For years she had cried alone. Tonight, someone was crying with her. Not because he wanted something from her, but because he believed her life mattered. When the prayer ended, Sophia remained silent. She opened the passenger door, stepped outside, then stopped. She looked back at Daniel. He simply nodded. No demand.
No payment. No hidden expectation.
Sophia walked away carrying only a small Bible, and a question in her heart. What if my life really can change? That question followed her all the way home. That night, Sophia couldn't sleep. She removed her makeup, changed her clothes, placed the Bible on the table. Then she stared at it for several minutes. Finally, she opened it. She began reading. The words were unfamiliar, but something about them felt strangely personal. For the first time in years, she wasn't searching for a customer. She was searching for hope. She came across the story of the woman caught in adultery. Sophia read about a woman who had been publicly exposed. A woman condemned by everyone around her. a woman who had been reduced to her sin. Then she read what Jesus did. He didn't pretend her sin didn't matter. But he also refused to let her sin become her identity. Sophia closed the Bible. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "Maybe he can do that for me too." As morning approached, Sophia knelt beside her bed. She didn't know how to pray anymore. So she simply spoke from her heart.
Jesus,
I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if you can forgive me. But I'm tired. I'm tired of this life. If you really love me, please help me. There was no thunder,